It's the last day of NAMM. Sad. I got to be honest, I'm sad. I'm DJ Jay Brand with Pioneer DJ, and you are in our NAMM experience for 2021, the NAMM show, Believe in Music Week 2021. It's been a good show. We've seen a lot of performers. We're going to actually recap today. I kind of want to get a dialogue going in the chat room today. We've got a bunch of stuff for you. First one is, if you go into the chat room, you'll see on the top heading, it says chat question poll. We actually have some polls in there. If you want to take those, that will be your way of getting entered in to win a pair of HDJ Q1 headphones. We gave away a pair yesterday. Someone won them at the end of the show. Today, we're going to base it on taking those polls. So while you're kicking back, relaxing, enjoying the show, you can take one of the polls and automatically be entered in to win. We're going to announce our Spin2Win later in the program. We have the DJ coach, DJ Happa. We're going to do an interview with him, talk about his class. I think he has a special surprise for everyone that's in the chat today. So that's exciting. I'm bringing PJ on a little bit later on. We're going to go over gear we saw. Some of it's DJ oriented. Some of it is more production. Some of it is more studio work. Some of it is very selfish because I play guitar and there's some cool guitar stuff that came out this year. Last year, the big thing was Positive Grid had the Spark amplifier. It won a huge tech award at the NAMM show, and I ended up getting one. I ordered it in late January, and I received it the first week of July. Things were different in 2020. So we're going to be talking pretty much all things NAMM. What I would love to have with all of you in the chat room, not only do I greatly appreciate that you're there, but I want your input. I want your feedback, and I want to know, what did you see at NAMM? Was it one of our videos that just blew your mind? Was it a new product? Is there something you're going to buy? NAMM and the beginning of January are a funny time. A lot of companies come out and they make, new gear entrances and want to set up things for the year because it's early enough, and it comes, let's face it, on the tail of CES. So you have the consumer side, then you have the more professional side with NAMM, where it's really driven by what dealers are going to carry, what new gear we want you, the customers, to have options to pick up. So if you saw something, please put it in the chat room. We're going to be monitoring that. I believe the DJ coach, DJ Happa, is going to have some of his staff in the chat room. So if you have particular questions for DJ Happa, if you have things about our course, getting started with the DJ coach, you can certainly ask those in the chat room. And we've got some of our staff from our actual demonstrators who are going to be in there as well. I think you're going to see Matt Play, who you saw come in going over the V10 long fader a couple weeks ago. You're going to see the Record Box Ninja Pulse will be in there, I think. So we got a lot going on for you, but it's happy hour. And it wouldn't be happy hour if I didn't continue with something in the way of a beverage. So we're going to continue with the 2005 Taste of NAMM Heineken today. You can have whatever you'd like. This is by no means a solicitation to only have this. You'd have water, coffee, soda pop, or anything else you'd like. So to all of you, I hope you had a great NAMM. I hope you have a great 2021. Stay safe, stay well. I hope everything that you're looking for this year is what you end up with, and it all becomes reality. So to all of you, cheers. So we'll start with this. Yep, still tastes like kind of 2005 NAMM show, Hilton Bar, late at night. So I'm happy with that. So let's talk NAMM. Gear, things we saw, products that came out. We were fortunate enough to get some things early on. Take a look at it. Of course, we launched our brand new DJM S7. Really been a big talk amongst not only the scratch DJs, but even a lot of mobile DJs have been contacting me asking about the Bluetooth audio input because of the events they do, where being able to float tracks off of a phone quickly would be of benefit for them. So that's come up a lot. Other manufacturers that we work with have brought out equipment. We will have a kind of capsulated setup for that. We did get a piece sent to us the other day. I want to show you that right now. And that is from Audi USA, Odyssey Cases. Amazing company. We've worked with them a lot. This, of course, is our DJM V10. And this is a case they sent over. You make an investment in in equipment, a controller, a mixer, a player, a turntable, whatever it is. you want to make sure that you're always in a position to protect it. Something like this happens to be unsolicited because these are the cases that I actually use for all of my gear. I've made a big investment in buying my equipment, and I want to make sure that at the end of the day, it's safe, it stays protected, it's covered, dust isn't getting in it. I don't have to worry gig to gig. They did launch one that I have seen only online at the NAMM show, which is a new, it's a new S11, the DJM S11 case, but it's a waterproof case. So if you're heavy traveling, if you're heavy touring and you need a mixer, this is something you really want to look at, especially knowing that if you've got it out on curbside and it's raining and you're waiting on a ride or, you know, whatever the case might be, you're pretty protected with something like that. So that's something that I think investing in is obviously the right choice. And even though we sometimes don't want to get new things, I think cases are always the way to go. Audi USA, Odyssey brand, you know, my good boy Dave Lopez over there, always great to deal with him. Everybody over there, from cases, facades, whatever you need with them. And again, these are things that as a full-time mobile DJ, I have to look at down the road, and it's the presentation. You've got a great piece of equipment. You want to make sure it looks clean, it looks neat, and everything's taken care of. So that said, what I would like to do here is kind of review what it is that we had to show you at the show. And go over, if you have questions, of course, you're in the chat, by all means, put them in there. Take the poll so you're entered in to win the HDJ Q1 at the end of the show. If after this you need follow-up, all of our addresses are very easy. Pioneer DJ USA, that's for Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. So any of those sources you need to go back to. If you missed a presentation from one of the videos or a presentation on one of the demonstrations, I believe you have till the end of February that you can go back and actively watch these things before they go out into the kind of public realm of YouTube and different channel sources. So we have different ways that we can, you know, come back to you with these things and you can still keep up with them. I know we have some of our DJM S7 video that we want to show you today. We're going to talk more about the Roger Sanchez and the James Hype. I hope you caught James Hype today. Pretty amazing what this guy does with hot cues, with loops, with backspinning loops on beat, getting in and out of tracks. His transitions are amazing. James Hype, H-Y-P-E, please, if you get a chance, look him up. Some amazing stuff. His set today was fire. 4 CDJ 3000s, 1900 Nexus 2. I mean, really, really top notch. So really impressed with that. We're going to be chit-chatting a little bit about the DJM S11. The S11, of course, was used in Scratch Bastard set, which was just before this show. So hopefully you're coming from that to this. And yesterday by the magnificent one, DJ Jazzy Jeff. So we'll be going over some of these questions, different aspects of it, things like that. But we are going to dip into our video archive on the DJM S7. We kind of put together a small presentation just if you've missed out, because those sets were earlier. Melody was today, and Anna opened the show. DJ Analyze opened the show yesterday at 9 a.m. So we're going to pull those videos up in a moment, let you see those, and then we're going to have a discussion as to what it is we saw at NAMM outside of our own things. So with that said, it's already time for second sip. I'm already chit-chatting today. Everyone had a good show, I hope. Everyone enjoyed it from home. What was your experience at Virtual NAMM? It's much, much different than being here, obviously. It's much different than finding yourself running around, trying to book travel, finding a place to eat, going to bars, do this. But what was your genuine experience? Would you look forward to doing another virtual one? Would you look forward to doing an in-person with some virtual support? I think that would probably be the best of both worlds for me, where maybe I could be in the room but check videos before coming into a seminar or before going into a booth. So I have a little bit better sense of what, you know, I can expect. So I think moving forward, I'm kind of hoping that's the direction NAMM goes in. Obviously, it's too soon. They haven't even given out the tech awards yet or done anything today, you know, but we're looking forward to everything they have to offer for next year. But as far as this year is concerned, we're going to dip in and check out some videos on the DJM S7. Needed that sip, I got to tell you. Voice was already starting to go. Of the performers you did see, which of the sets did you find to be kind of the most amazing? Want to put that in, maybe give it a fire emoji in the chat room. That would be a big help to us. We'd like to pass that on, of course, to the artist. Let them know where everybody stood with, what they saw and what they liked. I think I want to bring PJ in a second and start going over kind of our NAMM show experience and see what he has to say. He's on screen.
Hey, what's up, Jay?
Hey, sir, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. It's been a busy
great. How are you doing? It's like we're working like physical NAMM.
I know. It's been fun, though. I've really enjoyed it. You've been an amazing help with everything with the show. Your videos have been great. I thought it went really, really smooth this year. What was your take on it?
Yeah. Oh, it definitely did. And it was a different experience, and it was a different way of meeting people and showing them the gear because, it's not hands-on, but it definitely improved the way we can reach people who can't actually be at a physical NAMM show. So it was awesome being able to reach people from around the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You and I were in some chats this morning and yesterday on some of the different performances, and it was amazing when we were asking where people are from. I mean, this all over the world, and NAMM is notoriously an international show. It's oftentimes where you're meeting up with people from the Netherlands, from Asia, from every state in America. It's that show where everyone is coming in to make sure that they're getting their first look at the newest and greatest gear that everyone has to offer. By the way, do you have a drink?
I am having some H2O.
Yeah, no, it does. Like I said, this is not about having an adult soda. It's just about having something. So to all your work, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Everything. Cheers. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next time you come out, though, Jaeger. Just warning you.
We'll see.
We didn't get to go to Jaeger House either this year, which there's an incredibly delicious German restaurant in the Anaheim area called.
I haven't gone yet with you guys.
Oh, you haven't made Jaeger House yet? Oh, we go every year. And the owner, I believe it's Sandy, could not be sweeter to us. And she puts up with us every year, and it's just an amazing experience. So we're trying to give you little dining tips, what to do in the Anaheim, California area if you need them. So, PJ, let's talk NAMM. Let's talk our booth. Let's talk videos. Let's talk performances. Let's make sure we vet everything out. And let's also refer back maybe to the chat and see if anyone missed anything that we can kind of answer as we go along.
For sure.
Okay. Where would you like to
Sounds
start?
good.
Okay. Where do you want to start as far as what we saw in our booth? I know we're going to show the S7 video in a little bit, but why don't we break it down by performances? Let's start. We will skip over talking about Anna for DJ Analyze and Melody because I believe we're bringing videos in on them, correct? Yes.
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 Sorry, you caught me off guard there. But yeah.
Okay. So instead, let's break it down by yesterday, today. Let's start with the first big set we had, Roger Sanchez, CDJ 3000. What was your kind of takeaway from his set?
Well, it was awesome seeing it in the array that it was because, being a new product and with COVID still happening, we haven't seen very many performances with it with multiple CDJs, with 4 CDJs. And he was the first one that I've seen do it yet because usually you see it with like people are like rolling in their personal piece where they have two CDJ 3000s and 2 CDJ 2000s, and now we get to see the full array, see the Pro DJ Link in action with the DJM V10, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, that was the set that I think to help start the first day of NAMM off really hit home as to what this gear is capable of in the hands of someone like that. I don't know if you remember last year, I believe it was Claude Van Stroke, did the first set with the V10 in our booth at NAMM 2020 and was just on fire the whole time. It was incredible. So it was great to see
Wasn't it his first time using it?
Yes. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've had the honor and pleasure of seeing and working with him a few times. He's super, super cool guy, amazing DJ, very, very talented. And like a lot of DJs, if you've ever had the chance to meet any of the top end people, they're genuinely really, for the most part, super, super nice people that are just into the art of what they do. So they get very into what they're doing and they have an ability to kind of just blow things up. We did EDC last year and I happened to have Chris Cox come by on the Squid. And within like 5 minutes of not knowing what it was, he suddenly had all this stuff going on with like the AS1 and the SP16. So it's always fun to see someone like a Claude Van Stroke, like a Roger Sanchez, any of these people get on the gear and just tear it up right out of the gate.
For sure.
Really happy with that. We followed that up, of course, with the magnificent one, Jazzy Jeff on the DJM S11. I don't think people realize how incredibly influential and talented he is in the realm of the DJ world. Because I think they, as we said yesterday, they kind of look at him from his career with Will Smith and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and say, oh, that's that guy. He's maintained incredible respect amongst DJs and fans of the kind of turntablist genre as long as I can remember. What was your thoughts on his set?
Well, it was nice to see, because I know him a lot for his routines, like the Peter Piper routine and the Rock the Bells routine. But that was my first time actually, even though he's a big influence of mine, that was the first time I've listened to an entire set by him.
Oh, wow.
Hearing him employ the transformer scratches and the chirp scratches. But the fact that he was applying some of the features of the S11 with his classic battle style techniques was different, because it was like merging the two worlds, the modern technology with the classic old school 80s style Philly battle DJ like artist persona, Yeah.
No, he's amazing for that. And I'm glad you got to check him out on ours. I thought his set was excellent. I've seen him a lot of times play. I've seen him live play years ago at a opening for Serato at Guitar Center one time up in Hollywood. And it was just a night to remember of him and Babu and Rhythmatic. And, just everywhere you look, there were just incredibly talented scratch DJs there. And Jeff just nailed it. I think he got probably the most applause and people were just captivated by his set.
For sure.
Moving on those realms, as far as CDJ 3000 and S11, I caught most of from here because I was at HQ, the Scratch Bastard set. I mean, this guy just killed it.
It's turntablism, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's really not much else to say. Again, all these videos, if you haven't seen them in their complete form, you can always go back and watch them now that they have been launched. We're going to have all that available to you till the end of February. The other CDJ 3000, James Hype, I think we all watched that with our mouths wide open, just going, how? Like his ability to do loops and then cut the loop, back scratch it, and then jump into something completely unbeat is just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
One of the things that's important about James Hype is like he beats on that cue button and that play button.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like the CDJ 3000 is rated for 1 million clicks. So it's James Hype like ready,
Certified. Yeah. What he'll do in like a year. I'm not, obviously my producer, JP, big camera guy. I know you're kind of into the camera realm. A lot of DJs really into photography, video. One of the great guys who actually I had the honor of working with years ago, photographer Rooks, had sold one of his cameras to someone I know. And when they went to have it looked at, the camera was only 4 months old. It had something like 170,000 clicks on the shutter. And I'm like, is that good or bad? And they were like, just insane amount of taking photos and really not beating on it, but utilizing it for what it is. So that kind of reminds me of when I watch James Hype, of what people at that level are able to do with equipment to capture something. It's not just hitting play once. A lot of people think DJs, oh, all you do is hit play. No. You hit play a lot and you hit cue a lot. and you do that to get your talents to where they need to be. That said, you want to talk about some gear we saw? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm totally down. We looked at some pretty cool stuff, even
We looked at
outside of
some
the DJ
very
realm.
cool stuff. Yeah. So why don't we do this to make it easy on everyone? I think what we'll do is we'll bring it up on the screen, and then we can give our thoughts on it. I'm going to, again, open this up in the chat room. I know we have some of our people in there moderating. You're always keeping an eye on it. You're like the chat king. And we have some other people, but I just want to remind everybody, you got to go into the poll section. Go up to the top, says chat questions poll. Go to the poll, take the poll that we have in there. That will automatically enter your name to win the HDJ Q1s. So if a lot of people don't take it and you do, higher odds of winning. But please take a second, go in, take the poll, automatically enters you in. At the end of the show, we're going to give away another pair of HDJ Q1s. So that said, what did we see that we really liked in general? I know we saw keyboards, we saw stands, we saw guitars, facades, effects. Let's break it down in a quick list. Let's show everyone what we thought. Get their take on it in the chat. If you saw something that you really thought was amazing, please put it in there. I'd love to go back after the show, pull the chat up, and learn more. If these are things you didn't see, maybe check them out. We did our best to be as diverse when we looked around. We tried to find some things that we thought were really cool. We used cool as the key, meaning, one thing we found was a new XLR wireless transmitter that you can go from a speaker to a mic that's not wireless. And we'll go into that in a minute. We have a list, of course. It just wouldn't be the Pioneer DJ Happy Hour without the XMG laptop that I have right next to me, our laptop partner in the show. So, PJ, you want to bring up the first one? We're going to look at the Uno Synth Pro first.
Yep, let's bring that in.
Okay.
Right there.
Amazing price, ability to bring people up from not only synth and MIDI, but something that's a desktop. That was the thing that jumped out at me was the pricing. What was your feelings?
Well, let me get back in here. So the cool thing about it is the fact that there's two versions. There's the desktop version, and then there is the big version. And it's like I didn't study it too much, didn't get that much time, but the fact that it's a full synthesizer and MIDI controller, keyboard MIDI controller for, I think it was $399 that I saw the price for. Don't quote me on that, but just double check. But it's a pretty cool little device from IK Multimedia, desktop version for the studio and a full key for the players. So, but what did you think, Jay?
Going into synth. It's funny to watch, I look at my children, the music trends that I follow with them, but also what they become excited by musically. I play guitar and I'm like, hey, let's play guitar. But all of a sudden the finger drumming things get turned on, and now the synth thing is starting to come in, this ability to perform and play. And I'm happy to see things like this. I'm excited anytime music is more accessible, or the ability to make music becomes that much more attainable. It's, not a day goes by in most people's lives where music isn't the driving force. There's not a second that you can't put a song to or have it be a better moment because of music. Excuse me, that's the cue for a sip. So even though I don't play, I wish I did. I was really impressed with this one. I really did like that. And again, I'm trying to think outside of the box of just being narrow-minded and going, hey, I found another guitar that somebody in WASP used to use or something like that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what was our next item up?
So our next item is the WIDI Master wireless MIDI.
This is intriguing. This, MIDI is something that's very popular. It's been around since the mid 80s, I believe. But MIDI is one of those things that has never really gone away. And if anything, it's now, look at our DJMS7. We have loop MIDI, where MIDI is actually being utilized within the looping process for the effects. This is more up your alley on this. What was your take on this?
Well, I have keyboards, workstations, and synthesizers that are older than USB. And I have no way to control the MIDI unless I am using an interface. And I'm using old MIDI wires. But what's cool about this is I could run more MIDI devices in my room without having a spaghetti monster of wires in my studio that I'm always
Sure.
trying to walk all over. So it's great, and I'm sure it's great for the stage for musicians who use MIDI. So
Yeah, I think it's another asset. I like seeing anything that's sort of out of the box a little bit. Like, how do we take two things and melt them together? And we have that coming up. What was the next item we decided to pull up to show everybody?
we got the Shure digital wireless system.
Yes, this one came across my radar. 2021 is going to be different than other years because I am self-admitting I spent a very long time handing my microphone to people. Here, give the toast. Here, do the ceremony. And it never really dawned on me. I did a video years ago about somebody coughed into my mic and I cleaned it with hand sanitizer, but it didn't dawn on me that I should ever really have my own mic and then a secondary mic. And a lot of people that I've talked to have already been doing that. So they were ahead of the curve on me. This year is going to be different. I have a mic that's only for me, and I'll have a mic that's only for other people. For me personally, I'll be giving each person a new windscreen. I'll do a little spray on the head of the mic, pop on a new windscreen, and then toasters will be able to utilize it and not have to worry about any sort of transmission, or at least I'm doing my best to keep them safe. This mic came on because they particularly made reference to medium-sized halls, which as a mobile wedding DJ speaks to me that they're not touting this as an arena microphone. I think a lot of people know Shure. I have an SM58 I bought in 2000. I used it recently for something. I mean, that's the quality of that kind of a microphone. I think this will be very similar. I like that it has larger antennas right out of the gate. I believe it's got 14 different frequency signs on it that are already preset. So it's going to find the strongest channel when you enter the room and then lock into it. We've seen that and we know that that's worked. So I think this is something to certainly consider if you're looking at getting a new microphone. If you're in the chat and you've had great luck with Audio Tech or EV or Sennheiser or anything like that, let us know. Again, I really want this chat to be a learning experience because the show is over. Pretend we're all in a big room and we're all chit-chatting together about our experience at NAMM, what we saw, what we thought, and especially with the gear. So on this mic, you know, something that you could utilize when you're doing your clubs. Yes, PJ?
Yeah, for sure, especially for smaller bars like are out here in Iowa. Like it's definitely, if it's something that's made for a medium-sized room, it would be definitely more useful. Well, not saying that it wouldn't be overkill,
Right. And I didn't read past when they said in medium-sized rooms. I kind of read that as up to 2,500. Now, in a lot of places, a medium-sized room might be 200, but I think of large rooms as being the 5,000. And so for medium, for me on this, I'm thinking even in a club that holds a couple thousand people, you should be fine. It all comes down to, line of sight and distance. So I think you'd be fine. I don't know where they're gauging that, but either one of us would certainly benefit from this. Next item up that we found at the NAMM show, Believe in Music Week 2021. Okay.
Well, we got the Boss XLR wireless system.
This came across, other companies have made these. This one sort of stood out to me because it looks like it has some advantages. This would take, let's say, my SM58 handheld mic. I could take the transmitter, plug that into the bottom of my mic, put the receiver on a powered speaker, I believe into a mixer as well. And now I have a wireless system based on a non-wireless microphone. I think it's great in a pinch. I worked in Vegas a few years ago with the Las Vegas Review. And I asked their cameraman, that's an expensive camera. He goes, oh, these things are super expensive. I go, then how come you guys always use microphones with the cubes for wireless? You know, the wireless technology is totally moved forward. And he's like, I have no idea. I'm like, really? He goes, we just do. Like, I don't know. And he goes, they're not even expensive mics. It's not like we're protecting a $20,000 handheld by moving body packs around on it. So I think for DJs or venues or clubs or anyone that said, I have this mic and I have a 25-foot, mic cable, but I wouldn't mind being able to go 50 feet and make a small investment without spending on a full wireless system. You're doing a wedding, you're doing a club, you're doing bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, whatever you're doing, you're going to invest in your microphones. You're buying quality. That's the name of the game. But something like this might be able to get somebody through a system or add a second wireless at an affordable cost. What did you think of it? Because I know we were talking about guitar on this too.
Well, I don't think you could use guitar on it, but it's just the fact that you can choose whatever microphone you want. So,
Right.
and it's great. You could pick whatever. So, so I think we're off to the next segment. They're telling me no product. So yeah, what do we got?
I wanted, you don't want to finish off this list real quick?
No, we got to move to the next thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can come back because I want to talk about the Tracy Guns guitar.
No, for sure.
All right, let us move forward then. What would you like to move forward to?
So next segment, because our producer told us to move to no products. So let's do the next thing.
Okay. So right now, I believe we are scheduled for general questions. So what's going on in the chat room? Is there anything we need to address?
Okay, so we do have 3 questions, and we do have 3 questions. So we have a question from Sarah, and she's asking, is there an Odyssey case for the S11?
Yes, there is. In fact, they not only have a case that's similar to this or a coffin case, but I saw one that if you're traveling, Sarah, that you'd really be into. By the way, I think I may have spoken to Sarah in either the James Hype set, because I know I saw Sarah in one of the rooms. May have been Melody, could have been Scratch Bastard, but I think Sarah's been hanging with us for a while. So thank you, Sarah, for supporting and hanging with us. But they also have this really cool new one that's waterproof. And it's one of those hard plastic snap style cases where the DJM S11 sits in the middle of it with some room around it. So it's IP54, I believe, is waterproof rating, where you could leave it out. You're obviously not going to float it, but if it gets moisture on it, you're not going to worry about it. So Odyssey can totally hook you up with any of those things. They've been really gracious with us at various shows to provide different cases that, we make a big investment in this gear and you want to make sure it's protected. So you're definitely set on that one.
All right, so the next question is from David. Is there any announcements for DJ gear for consumer mobile DJs?
David, thank you for the question. I think for the mobile DJ market, probably the 2 pieces that I think we could utilize the most, because I consider us brothers on this one because I'm a mobile DJ. DJM S7, if you're getting into the 2-channel market, if you're getting into the turntable scratch market, this would be amazing for mobile, as far as if you're upselling, let's say, turntables. Here in Southern California, heat's an issue. Vegas, it's an issue. Different areas, it's an issue. If you're in a market, maybe your pricing structure is such that you charge X for a wedding, but as an add-on, you could also do it with turntables and a mixer using DVS with Rekordbox DJ or Serato DJ Pro. And that becomes another avenue of upgrading your client's experience. So I would really look at the DJM S7. We also just had the DDJ Flex 6. That's something that I've utilized on Twitch a bunch of times because it's just so easy to hook up. It's a great practice piece. It's a great smaller event piece. You don't need any power. If your laptop's 100% powered, plug it in and you need nothing else. Headphones, a USB cable, and you could play in the car. You could play anywhere. I know that may not sound mobile, but to me, it's absolutely mobile. If somebody said, hey, I'm getting married and it's over there on the beach. Okay, I have a laptop. I have the Flex 6. So far, I don't need any power. Okay, I have a battery kit and a powered speaker. I'm good. Now I just need to figure out how to get my microphone maybe directly into the speaker. And I'm now performing on the beach, in the woods, at a winery, wherever, with no power cables. So to me, that's the ultimate in mobile ability. Outside of that, I would go back a little bit and look at some of our prior releases, something like the DDJ 1000 SRT or DDJ 1000. They're both hugely successful in the mobile market. I've had great success with the XTJ XZ because of the heat. Again, I was able to use a flash drive for about 3 hours of a 6-hour wedding. Didn't have to worry because the laptops weren't running into problems. I didn't have the XMG with me then, but this summer I will. We'll see how we fare with the heat. I think this bad boy is going to do pretty well. So I think there's different choices for you. You should get the gear that fits your needs, that you can afford, that you'll do the best job with. That's that.
For sure. And then next we got from DJ Genie, are there any plans in the future for a successor to the XP2, the DDJ XP2?
Oh, XP2's done very well. XP1 did very well and was one of the most valued things we ever carried, considering that you got DVS license and you got Rekordbox DJ license and DVS with it. So it worked out to be like a next to nothing investment for this amazing MIDI controller. It's something I'm going to pass on to our product planners, as well as our engineers, the interest in going to an XP next kind of thing. It's a matter of, would you add more pads? Would you add more knobs? You know, again, back to what I said about a dialogue, it's DJ Genie.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So, and that's it for questions.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just
go ahead.
wanted to ask her, like in the chat, if maybe give me an idea of what it is you'd like to see in the next one. You know, and that way,
for sure.
It's some information that we can then pass on to product planning and say, hey, DJ Genie said this would be cool if we had this, this, and this. Is this something we should consider? It's the dialogue, I think, is the best way, because the customer's not always, you know, in on these things. They're always right because of what they're going to purchase, but I think they have so much to offer us as a brand in what you actually want and how you want it to work. So I look forward to hearing what DJ Genie has to say. For
sure. And that is it for questions. Did you want to just wrap up maybe one or two products from NAMM?
You know what? I'd love to go back through just a couple more. I think, you know, it's the NAMM show. I think showing things that we saw that we liked, and also asking people in the chat to give us what they really liked. We left off with the Boss Wireless XLR. Excuse me. Dustin.
Yeah, we have. So next we got the Facade that you found.
The Grundor Facade, yes. Now, this is a rustic barn style. I can't tell you how many people I talk to on Facebook, Instagram, that are doing weddings full time, that are in various areas of the country, and they're doing rustic barn weddings. And I'm like, what do you set up? Do you set up like just a white or black facade in front? This and that. Oh no, I got to custom make this thing with barn doors that weighs a ton. I think this is really neat. I think it's neat for a lot of reasons. I think it's neat because it answers the question, what do I put in front of me at a rustic wedding, at a winery wedding, at a barn wedding? There's a lot of opportunity, I think, for something like this. I'm in an area of Southern California where there's one winery after another. I could be using this thing every weekend, set up out by the, you know, in the middle of the vineyard. It would look totally in place. And the other thought was, when I saw it, my first condition was, okay, if I got this, would I then cover it with something somewhere else? Meaning, let's say you go inside to a hotel venue. Can you utilize this if it doesn't fit what the bride and groom are looking for, the client? The answer is yes, cover it with cloth. and now you can make it into something else. I really like this. You're in Iowa, I'm in California. I mean, is that a thing out there as far as the rustic wedding look? Is that going on out there much? Do you hear much about that, PJ?
It's pretty much most venues. Yeah, it's pretty much most venues here.
Okay, so something like this would
Like,
fare well in your marketplace.
no, for sure. It's and
Yep.
sometimes because you know, like sometimes some of the facades just look too modern for the type of venue that we have, and this rustic look is like fits more. And a lot of my friends' weddings are usually at like you know like out in the cornfield or out
Yeah,
at
yeah.
a winery, and this
Well,
is
and
so much better than you know like
it
just
fits with you're doing.
plain black painted.
Right. You can always go around it and do what you would like on it. The two big ones that I want to go through real quick, because I know we're up on time, but I want to show these because these were personal things I found. One of them is the Eventide Black Hole, which is a guitar pedal. I believe you could use it with synth, but it's a reverb pedal that has a ton of different options. Gets very ethereal, very angelic, very hypnotic kinds of reverb if you're into that. I'm not a huge reverb guy, but it really caught my eye and my ear when I saw their presentation video because it was not just that atypical, I'm in a barrel reverb. It was, wow, this has a lot going on with it. And are you big on reverb when you're playing?
Oh, big time, big time. I'm definitely when I play guitar, I bury it in reverb, especially when you're playing because I play and I spin at the same time, so it's like it has to match the music that I'm playing, and you can't be too dry.
Right. No, absolutely. I totally get that. And the last one I think we're going to show, and this is way off the DJ world. And again, we wanted to look at things that were more DJ production. You know, what are you going to use? What are you not going to use? And if you're a guitar player, bass player, drummer, keyboardist in the chat room, just throw an emoji up. Give us like a thumbs up emoji. Let us know that you're a player. This is just a personal thing with me. This is a band I really liked in the 80s. I still like. I had the pleasure of hanging out one night actually with Flip, one of our demo DJs in Vegas, not to drop everything, but we got to hang out with Tracy Guns of LA Guns and Kramer, which is now part of Gibson Guitars. Kramer now has a signature guitar for him, and it's called the Gunstar Voyager. If you look at this, it harkens back to the 80s shredder days, all the speed guys, and it's the first look of it is actually, I mentioned Wasp earlier. Chris Holmes of Wasp had this same model from Jackson, and Akira Takasaki from Loudness had the same model from a company in Japan. I've always liked this. It's that Flying V Explorer kind of thing. Reminds me of Randy Rhoads Jackson, reminds me of Dimebag Darrell's ML. I think there's a lot going on with it. What was your take on this kind of guitar? I know you have a Wolfgang from EVH, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay,
correct. It's funny because I'm like I like shredder guitars, but I'm not the best shredder.
You don't have to be to have a shredder guitar.
Yeah, I love Floyd Rose's. I'll put up with the string change, the time, like how hard it is to change the strings.
Break it
It's never under 10 minutes.
Yeah, Taylor, you're in trouble. One bit of advice I got a long time ago, take a 9-volt battery or something like that and wedge it under the back of the tremolo where the fine tunes are. Makes it a lot easier to change strings out because then you don't get a collapse. So just a little bit of guitar advice.
No, for sure.
Pioneer DJ Happy Hour.
That's
show.
an hour and a half, cut to an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Gain that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Time is always valuable. All right, that was awesome. I really enjoyed going over those things with you. Quick question, check the chat real fast if you could. Just make sure I don't want to miss anything. I want to make sure we're getting through everything in a timely fashion.
We do have one question from Howie.
Howie, okay.
We do have one question from Howie. Yes. He says, I guess he was asking DJ Pulse. He said, I watched your master class. Can I use, he was talking to Pulse. Can I use both Serato and Rekordbox on the same computer?
Yes. I can answer that. Yes, 100%. Yep. I do it all the time.
Not at the same time.
No, oh no.
I mean, you can have them open at the same time, but you can't use, well, I don't think that's what he was asking, but basically you can't use them on the same time with the same hardware, but you can use them one at a time with the hardware you have?
Each program is going to immediately try to find where the sound is going for USB. So, I always recommend to people, if you can, shut things off. Meaning, if you have Serato open and you want to open up Rekordbox DJ, shut off Serato DJ Pro, vice versa. So, but you can have them both loaded on the same computer. I certainly do on my XMG, as well as anything else that I've been utilizing. So, talk all things NAMM. Again, make sure you're taking the poll. That's where we're giving away the HDJ Q1s. You need to hit us up on social media, Pioneer DJ USA, for Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. These videos are going to be available to you till the end of February. If I'm wrong on that, I'll have somebody come in and talk to my producer and change that. But as far as I know, because you're a now registered NAMM person, you can see them all the way to the end of February. So now we've done that. I want to move forward with somebody that I've known for quite a few years. Very nice person, very cool guy. It's the DJ coach, DJ Happa. He's over at the DJ Coach Central. We're going to bring him in, see what he's been up to. He gave a great class, and we're going to learn more about what it is that he does in his way of teaching, what you can benefit from, and just get to talk to him. Happa, how are you, sir?
Hey, Jay, how's it going?
It's going well, sir. Got to check, though. You got a drink?
I do. Not an alcoholic drink, but I do have a little Coke Zero here.
No,
So
that's
cheers
fine.
to you.
Cheers, sir. It's all about the cheers. It's not about the beers. Well, it's
Nice. I might have to steal that.
hey, anytime. So you gave a class, and it
did.
featured the Flex 6. I want to
Yeah.
totally go over that. But before we do, can you give people just a quick background on, you're the DJ coach, like, where are you coming from? What's your experience, sort of thing?
Sure, yeah. Hi to everybody that is out there. My name is DJ Happa. Been a DJ now for 25 years. It was never my intent to turn this into a career, and I'm so blessed to have done that. I started as a club DJ, gotten into corporate and private stuff, do a ton of mobile things. Yeah, it's just been great. And then, let's see, probably, 15 years ago, there was this pull and this tug to create a DJ school. And at the time, there weren't any DJ schools that I knew of except for one, Scratch DJ Academy in New York, which was founded by Jam Master Jay. Rest in peace to Jay. And so, long story short, I got involved with Scratch. I brought the school from New York to LA, helped open up schools in Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Philadelphia. We were getting ready to open up a school in Barcelona. And as of about a year and a half, I set out on a different venture to bring DJ education to the world. So we created the DJCoach.com. Our goal is to teach the world to DJ. Another one of our goals is to help DJs level up. I am a coach. I consider myself more of a coach than a teacher. Obviously, there's some teaching and learning involved, but I take that role as a coach really seriously, and we've got a great team of coaches that are here to really just help people get to that next level, whatever that next level is. Whether it's you just got a piece of gear, you don't even know what to do, we can help you out. Or you've been messing around for a couple of months or a couple of years and you feel stuck, we'll help you get unstuck. So it's really awesome, and more importantly, I'm really excited about what we're doing with Pioneer DJ. We've actually got free courses. We've got an entire course. It's called the 7-Day DJ Challenge, specifically on the DDJ 400. We're building a course right now for the DDJ Flex 6, and that's a little bit of what we showed off at NAMM, was some of the cool features on the Flex 6, which will also be included in that 7-Day DJ Challenge, which again is free for anybody who owns that piece of gear. So very exciting stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, you and I talked a little bit last night, and I've always had this attitude because I kind of grew up looking at golf and tennis.
Right.
Where that makes sense is the greatest golfers and tennis players in the world have coaches.
That's right.
Number one in the world has a coach. Somebody comes in and says, you're doing this right, but you're doing this wrong. And this is how you stay where you are. And when I first heard about the DJ coach, that was the first thing that came to mind. I was talking with, head of the world over here, Hector.
Yeah.
And I'm like, DJ coach? He's like, what? I said, I love that name. It infers that he's there to help you develop and grow. It's not
Yeah.
about a manager that's like pushing. It's somebody
Right.
that's there to help. And when we talked last night, that was exactly the attitude you had. And I was like so happy to hear that, because I've been DJing a long time and I know I've gotten stuck in some bad habits and I've tried to learn, but it's difficult after a little while. Do you get people like, let's say me, who have been a DJ for a long time, but kind of are willing to admit, and there is zero shame to admit,
Yeah.
I could always be better?
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, right? I think it's really important to identify where your shortcomings are, and we all have them, all of us. I mean, myself included. There are plenty of things that I want to improve on, and for that, I actually look to some of my other coaches that I have that are part of the coaching staff to be able to help me see some of those blind spots. And yeah, I feel like it's really important. And if you love music and you love DJing and you love everything about it, like, why not try and get better? Why not try and get more out of what you can do? Most of the DJs that I see that are using a piece of gear, I come from this world of 2 turntables and a mixer. Back in the day, I mean, it was a lot less to integrate. There were no such thing as hot cues, or you weren't using effects and loops and things like that. And now, I heard you guys talking about James Hype earlier, talking about Scratch Bastard and Jazzy Jeff, and just like, it's amazing what you can do with the same piece of gear. And why not try and learn what else you can do with this and help? It's one thing to, like, especially if you're a working DJ, right? And you're booking gigs on a consistent basis. Like, that's great. And you can kind of ride that out and maybe feel like, oh, well, the audience doesn't know, like, I'm still better than, the average DJ or whatnot. Yeah, but don't you want to be better? Don't you want to be excited about trying something new? Don't you want to be excited about reorganizing your music and finding a better way to have your system set up, or whatever that is? And those little pieces, I feel like, bring me so much joy. I mean, I'll be very honest with you. I don't think I'd be DJing 25 years now if it weren't for those moments that have inspired me along the way from students that I've had, and that helps keep that fire alive. And yeah, I urge anybody who loves this to get with a coach. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be our team. I mean, we certainly have a ton of great resources, but find something that continues to inspire you, and people who are going to push you and be honest with you, and not just be like, oh yeah, that was awesome, when you're just kind of like, sounded like the last mix. Really find people that are willing to be honest with you and help push you to your full potential.
Yeah, no, it was so, I left here last night after we talked, and I literally was driving home and I was talking with Pulse, and I'm like, just talk to Hap. Like, dude, I'm like kind of stoked on this. He's like, why? I'm like, because he's saying everything that somebody should say about making us better at what we do. Because it's not even getting stuck. It's very easy nowadays to go to YouTube or go to Vimeo or go wherever and say, I want to learn how to play guitar. Okay, well, this says do this, I can play Eruption. That's great, but you can't play just because you can copy something.
Right.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That's really not playing, that's copying. And with DJ, it's even worse, because I know the mistakes I've made and I've plowed through them, and I'm not the greatest DJ. And when I told you the mix story last night, when I do find something new that makes me better, it's so awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
It takes,
and that can be enough, even just those little things, man. Those little things can be those moments that really fill back up your tank, and get you to the next checkpoint. And next thing you know, you've strung together a career because of it. And that's the thing, is I feel like sometimes people forget that the term DJ gets thrown around, right? And there's the verb of knowing how to DJ, which I guess could be somewhat subjective, right? I mean, if you're able to hit play on a mixer or on a CDJ or something like that, some people define that as being able to DJ, or you're able to use the crossfader and go from one to the next, a song to the next. Some people define that as being a DJ, or some people define that as DJing. But I like to talk about DJ as the noun and what it means to be an actual DJ, like the person whose job it is, which is to control the room, control the music, control the vibe, and be able to take all of these skill sets that maybe seem small and insignificant and put them all together and weave all of this together through the music that you're using to be able to inspire this crowd, to be able to lead this crowd. You know, a DJ as a leader is a thought leader, is a leader in culture. And I think that that's really important. That shouldn't be taken lightly. You know, you go to any event, there's one person playing the music, you know, it's the DJ.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, whatever, 10, 20, 100, 1,000 people that are following along to what that DJ is doing. So this idea of also being able to build up confidence, that's a huge part of one of our core values at the DJ Coach, is being able to give people more confidence. And confidence comes from preparation. It comes from being coached. It comes from knowing what your value is and what you're worth.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because even though we don't have a qualifying license, or I have a certificate, or I can prove I'm a DJ because I've done it for so long, you know, somebody better than me one night said, have you been a DJ for 20 years, or have you done the same gig for 20 years? Meaning, have you just been you going through the motions, or have you grown? And you're right. If you go to see a band, they have to play their songs, or they have to play in the genre that they're billing. DJs walk into rooms completely cold. No one knows them. No one even wanted them.
Right.
By the end of the night, they've taken people on a journey, and it's such an amazing feeling. When you get people coming in that have never DJ'd before, what's kind of the thought process? Is it feeling out where they're going, or just getting them to become something of a DJ?
I mean, there's, I think everybody has their different goals for what they've set, but there's certainly some commonality amongst that, right? A lot of people get into DJing because they've been told that they have a great taste in music. You know, they take great pride in putting together playlists, sharing them with friends, and the pride that comes from sharing music with friends.
Right.
A lot of people get into DJing aren't necessarily like these super extroverted like people. You know, I mean, I even, I would consider myself introverted, especially when I started DJing. And you sort of become this person. You get used to being able to be in front of people, and that takes time, you know. But yeah, depending on, you know, what people are looking for and what they need, you know, I always kind of go back to, you need a strong foundation. Because no matter what you want to do, if you want to be, you know, a top club DJ, if you want to be, you know, playing at festivals at some point, if you want to be a great wedding DJ, mobile DJ, whatever it is, or you just want to be, you know, having fun at home after work, either way, I think where you start to get into some of the skill sets, there is a bit of a linear path. Like, there is this foundation that needs to be laid. And it starts with, you know, really understanding music from a like structural level. So starting to look at music theory, starting to look at song structure, breaking down the anatomy of the mix, you know, starting to understand the basic concepts of signal flow, right? And then nowadays, now that software is a huge part of what we're using, you know, understanding the software, understanding how to manage your library, so that when you're performing, you're taking some of the guesswork out of it. Like, you can be present and in the moment without fumbling around, hitting buttons that you didn't know what those actually did, and all of a sudden things are playing backwards or whatever. So, you know, there's definitely this core fundamental base that somebody needs, no matter where they want to go, no matter what genre of music that they want to be playing in. You know, these are the fundamentals that we're just really excited to be able to share with people, so that you can get out there and start doing what it is that you really love.
Awesome. Yeah, I always wondered if, I mean, because I'm certainly would never, you know, when people come to me like, I want to be a DJ, I'm pointing them in every other direction but me, because I'm not there. I don't have the kind of presence of to sit there and repeatedly go through something like that with them. But I've often wondered, when you get people, and you and I have seen each other in this realm, where somebody wants to learn to scratch, and I'll be blunt in front of the audience, in front of everybody. I really do. It's the thing every year in January, I say, this is the year I'm going to be scratch. You know, I'm over dealing with Beat Junkies, I'm dealing with you, I'm dealing with Qbert, I'm dealing with D-Styles, I'm dealing with these guys, Shortcut, Lazy Boy, and you just look at them like, okay, this is Eddie Van Halen, and I haven't taken the guitar out of the case yet.
Yeah.
But you know, it's putting in the time and effort. So when you get somebody that comes to you and says, like, I just wanted to learn hip hop, you do focus on giving them that foundation of, you really need to understand everything, because even hip hop now, look at how much of it's jazz, look at how much of it's blues.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think, you know, there's, as a DJ, I mean, I feel like should be music lovers, should be open to being able to, open to all sorts of different types of genres of music, genres that haven't even been invented, you know, and even maybe potentially seeing an opportunity infusing things that don't have any business going together, you know, and I think that's one of the things that I enjoy the most out of being a DJ, is constantly being exposed to music. But specifically, even when it comes to the scratch, Jay, I've got something coming actually for you, and for anybody out there that wants to scratch. We're getting ready to release a whole bunch of courses on the DJ Coach, one of which is something called Scratching Simplified, and it's a masterclass, and it's literally meant to be able to demystify scratching, taking a lot of that fear and anxiety over, like, I don't know how to make this sound good, and starting to, like I was talking about earlier, literally building these fundamental building blocks so that you can get used to being able to sound good doing this. And a lot of times there's a lot of confusion. You see like scratch DJs doing all this stuff with the crossfader, and you're like, I don't even, like, what? And ultimately, you can't do the crab scratch unless you've got good timing on your platter hand, and that you've got good solid like motor skills on your fader hand. You know, I mean, like, there's some fundamental stuff that needs to happen there before you do that, and before you get into that. So
That would be perfect.
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's just, you know, so much that we're excited to be able to share with the world. And I mean, it's just been crazy. Just even this process with the DJ Coach and opening this up to all these DDJ 400, and also we have a class for DDJ 200 users as well. And soon we'll have a Flex 6 class. But I mean, thanks to Pioneer for helping us really reach and touch this goal of teaching the world. I mean, we've got now students, I think it's now 93 countries where we have students, and it's really only been about 3.5, 4 months now. And it's amazing to see these people connect over the love for music and the love for DJing and DJ culture.
I think I could live longer. I went on a fast years ago for like 13 days and didn't have any chewable food, just water.
Yeah.
I was fine. I don't know that I could go 13 days without music.
Yeah.
Like it's, and you know, you and I have known each other quite a few years. I've hung out with you in Vegas. I've hung out with you in LA. I've seen you at different shows. I think I saw you in Miami once. Just listen to the conversation. All those things are because of music. Because music is played everywhere. And I've been so fortunate, and I'm grateful that a company like Pioneer DJ has allowed me to travel doing what I absolutely love. Even doing something like this, talking to you. Yeah. This isn't work. This is, I love doing this. What I do want to talk about, though, as a segue, is on your video, you were using the Flex 6, our new DDJ Flex 6 4-channel controller, and doing some crazy cool things with that. Would you mind giving us a little overview of that, and as you show it? Would that be cool?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, actually, the Scratching Simplified masterclass I was talking to you about, I mean, that's definitely going deeper into scratching. But we actually have a scratching module, like a basic scratching module, including like understanding note theory, beats, bars, and phrases. We've got that included in this free 7-day DJ challenge that we have for anybody who owns the gear. And then actually, I don't want anybody to go anywhere, because at the end of this, we're actually going to do something special for anybody who doesn't own either of those models. We've got something special that we've put together too that we want to be able to give to all the people who've attended this. So I can go over the Flex 6 though real quick.
Yeah. We're going to bring you up full screen now and let you do your thing.
Cool, cool. I believe, shout out to Coach First, who's in the studio right now. We've got overhead running too. We've got overhead and front. Okay, cool. All right, so everybody, this is the Flex 6. I heard Jay actually talking about it earlier and saying how this is amazing because it's USB powered, bus powered, right? This is really awesome. It doesn't even have a power cord at all. So it's completely portable, and it's amazing that you're getting a 4-channel controller here. Now, I'm not here to sell you the Flex 6. I'm just really here to show you what it can do. So the two things, two and a half, 3 things here that I really want to point out, which I pointed out in my session here at Believe in Music Week, is the merge effects, which is something really awesome. And then also the sampler scratch and the ability to use the jog cutter. So I'm going to show those really quick. First of all, before we get into the merge effects, I just want to point out that what the merge effects are is this is a combination of different effects following a particular sequence that you can customize and can control, but there is a default, and there's actually 4 slots. So there's 4 choices, so I can toggle between 1, 2, 3, and 4 by clicking on this button up here where the merge effects are. I got it on both sides. And then, you know, it really, for anybody who's at a beginner level and or maybe even at, you know, has been using this for a while, but you're not using effects a ton, this is applying a couple of different types of effects, as I mentioned before. You also still have your beat effects section. So it is important to understand, like, what is an echo? What does that do? What does the filter do? What's a high pass filter, a low pass filter, right? Because this is going to use a combination of those all at the same time. And then just from a mechanic point of view, like, I've got this knob that I can twist, and I've also got a button here at the top of it. The button will activate the merge effect. Then I can twist the knob, and it'll create some motion and movement to what's happening. I can hit the button, and it'll create a stop. And so depending on which slot you're on, it'll have different behavior. But I'm going to show you this real quick. So I'm going to play. We're getting music here. There we go. Okay, so if I go ahead and hit this, turn it on. So there's a snare here that it's added in. And I hit stop, and then it stops, right? So this is a cool thing. If I were going to change tempo, let's say, or switch things up completely, I could use one of these merge effects. In fact, most of the ways that these merge effects are built are great for being able to change things up. So, you know, oftentimes, this happened with me in my career. I started mixing music, like blending songs together over 8 bars, 16 bars. And that's great, but sometimes you just need to switch it up. Like maybe you want to just drop in a whole new song or go a different direction. Using the merge effect is a great way to be able to do that because it combines all of this at once. Now, I could do that without using the merge effects, but the fact that it's all here in one button, it's a lot easier to access. So I'll show you a couple other ones that are here. I'm going to go to merge effect 2. And what if you don't want it to stop though? What if you just want it to create this sound and then you want to like undo it? If you hold shift, it'll do that. So let me show you. Song's playing. I'm going to go ahead and activate it. Shift. Okay, so then it keeps running, keeps playing. Now again, the other part of it is you've got to have rhythm and timing when it comes to this. So without skipping over the basics, it's just really important like that you understand that as a DJ, this is a rhythm-based instrument. And I know it's not a traditional instrument, but it is a rhythm-based instrument, which kind of leads me to the second part of what I wanted to show you was the scratching piece. So, and by the way, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. We've got a couple of our coaches in the chat. We can help answer some of those questions that you might have when it comes to this or to other things, especially for anybody who wants to really level up as a DJ. So I do want to show you just a quick, this is just a sound that I have here. This is actually one of the sounds that comes inside of Rekordbox. It's just this like white noise sound. Right, and if anybody wants to get into scratching, again, it's all just about, there's 2 pieces. There's the platter hand, there's a fader hand. So you've got to be able to separate those hands as well, and that's sometimes the hardest thing to learn. We have a saying around here at the DJ Coach, which is proper practice creates progress. Not perfection, because honestly, in art form, there really is no such thing as perfection. It will hardly ever, in fact, not hardly ever. I don't think I've ever had a point where it was like, that was perfect. And certainly if it's perfect, you'll find ways to find that it wasn't that perfect. Okay, so I've got this, right? I've got this sound that's here. The way that I was able to do this, if I was on a track, I could shift and then hit the sampler button. That's going to pull up our sampler scratch, which by the way, for anybody that is familiar with Pioneer DJ controllers and you see like a sub menu, you can get to those sub menus or those sub functions by holding shift. So anything that's in a little box, I can get there. So now this has pulled up my sampler scratch, which then any of these 8 slots, which is reserved for my sampler, as soon as I hit that button, it'll pull it up onto the deck. So if I hit the second one, it'll now pull up that sound onto the deck. I love this feature. This is so great. Like, as somebody who wants to incorporate scratches into what it is that I do, I can load up the sampler bank, and then when I'm ready, I literally switch over to the menu, hit that button, and now that's on the actual deck. It's super, super functional. Otherwise, before, what I had to do was go into my library, find the scratch sound that I wanted, then load it on a deck. Those seconds, those precious seconds, really do add up and do help with the performance. So I just want to show you something. So if this is playing, right, like a basic situation here, I'm just going to go through, I would normally go through and teach some note theory and teach you some notes. But what I'll do first is I'm just going to show you an eighth note. So this is a simple eighth note scratch. This is great for anybody who's never done this before, who's never even thought about scratching before. You can do this at home if you want. You can put out your hand and air scratch with me. An eighth note is a forward on every beat. So it's just like this. Lock this beat in, right? You're trying to get a consistent sound. Quarter note would be half this, so it'd be this. Eighth note would be this, back to the eighth note. 16th, back to eighth. Right, and this is just, we call this a baby scratch. Like literally, you know, it's kind of belittling to call it a baby scratch. This is like your basic scratch. You're not worried about the crossfader, you're not worried about both your hands, you're only worried about the rhythm of what you're playing against, and you're making sure that your hand is in time with what's happening. There's a couple of other things too that you're making sure of. You got to make sure that your sound is getting back to the same place every time. And some of these little nuances, it seems so small, but these differences, the difference between this sounding good and bad is like this, right? I mean, it's really small. In fact, actually, let me show you what might sound bad. So if I was off a little bit, my rhythm was off. Right? Like that just doesn't sound like anything. There's not any sort of rhythm that's applied. Or I'm too far back in the sound. Right? And that's what honestly a lot of people are afraid of, is sounding bad. So, you know, the key to this is like, how can we teach you how to use this sound, this scratch, to make you sound better? Now, this isn't just reserved for being able to scratch a sound effect over a track that's playing. I mean, this also can be handy for being able to bring a track in. Right? So something simple like, there's some mechanics that are going into this, as opposed to just doing this. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. I heard them talking about James Hype wearing out the cue and play button, right? All of that. I mean, you can certainly use the button. You can use the hot cue. You can do any of those things. However, sometimes it might be nice to just... it's one of those things that it's a great thing to be able to know and to be able to do. Now, I want to show you one other thing here, which is the jog cutter. This is a really cool feature. Now, some people look at this and think that this is like cheating. And you could look at it that way if you wanted to, but the way that I look at it is this is a way to be able to get certain sounds that you might not be able to get otherwise, or that might take you years and years of practicing and maybe not really achieving. Either way, this is a great way to, I think, introduce people to what you could do with scratching. So if I turn on the jog cutter, now what happens is, as I move, this basically separates the platter into 6 different quadrants. They wouldn't really be quadrants if there's 6, right? Quadrants means that there's 4. So this would be whatever, hex, whatever that is. There's 6 different sections. And you can see that here on the platter. So depending on where I'm at, it's going to create a different sound and a different pattern. Now these are modeled after actual scratch patterns by using the crossfader in conjunction with your platter hand. So there's like a flare in here. There's like a chirp in here as well. And so I want to show you what this sounds like. Now you still have to do this rhythmically, otherwise it just won't sound very good. So here, let me show you. Let me show you how I might do this over a beat here. Now that would be a lot harder to do. Like if you were actually doing that scratch, it would be a lot harder to also be able to use the filter at the same time. So this has opened up some amazing possibilities for certain things that you might be able to do. And that is the jog cutter. So there's some pretty cool things that you could do here. You could also use it not just with the sound, but you could also use that by bringing in a beat. And I just think that there's a lot to offer inside of the Flex 6. I will say this too. One of the things that I like the most about the Flex 6 is that it's completely flexible. So, and I think hence the name Flex 6, but it also works with Serato and Record Box. So if you are somebody that uses Serato and primarily uses Serato, like this could be a great controller for you. If you're somebody that uses Record Box, this could also be a great controller for you. And this might expose you to the other software as well. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not what you use, it's definitely how you're using it. So, I love this thing. And like I said, for anybody who owns the Flex 6 or you're about to buy the Flex 6, we are packaging this up with our 7-Day DJ Challenge, which is meant for you to put together your best mix yet, or in some cases, this might be your first mix. And this is a very cool thing. You can send in your mix at the end of the 7 days, and somebody from our team will listen to it and give you feedback on the mix. Super cool. So yeah, a little bit about the Flex 6. Jay, are you still there, or did you go out drinking without me?
I am right here. That was awesome. See, when I see someone like you, and again, much love and respect, I've had the opportunity to witness, believe it or not, I don't know if you remember it, but I got to see you spin in Vegas one time at the Las Vegas DJ show.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I think it was me and Flipside. Was it?
Is that what? Flipside, you were tag teaming.
Yeah.
That was so awesome that night. Yeah.
Completely impromptu.
That was such a great show.
Yeah, man. I will say this. I think as a DJ, I think it's really important to, like, preparation is a huge part of that. And sometimes I think people take preparation, this idea of preparation, to an extreme, and almost feel that, like, okay, preparation equals taking the fun out of it. And I would actually agree, and disagree, and I would say the opposite, which is that I think if you're prepared and you have, music, you're ready to go, that music is tagged up, you know exactly where your mix points are, you know what works with what, you can actually be way more flexible and way more present in the moment. And the example that you just brought up with us playing at the Las Vegas DJ show, I mean, that was completely impromptu. I don't know if it was off of a laptop or thumb drives or whatever, but it was just like, us just kind of jamming. And I think, like, when you get to a point where you're organized enough with your own library and you're prepared, you can have those moments. And honestly, not just with other DJs, as in the one that we just described, but also, like, when you're live at an event, the ability to have an idea and then to just execute it. And it's not about, creating a playlist and then following it to a T. Like, I'm gonna play this song first, then this song, then this song, then this song, before going into the event. I think having some framework and then being able to go in and do it live, it's like this thing, man. Like, there's some framework to what it is that we're supposed to be doing today. You had to run a show, but you're filling in the blanks. Like, you're not following a script. There's no teleprompter. Like, this is all impromptu and us being present and in the moment. And to me, that's one of the biggest joys of DJing.
It's the whole organic thing. And
yeah,
coming from the music side of guitar, when I've had discussions about DJing and the similarities and where the levels are, I've always said, you're only as good as your last gig.
Yeah.
In that, I think you should always strive to be better, but also get, your skills are where you want them to be when you're comfortable getting on stage. Meaning, if I show up and I'm playing and you walk in and say, "Hey, what's up, bro? Let's back to back."
Right.
Am I ready for that? Do I feel my skills are where they need to be?
Right.
we've had this talk. There's a lot of DJs that make a great living, they have a great career, and they do what they do well. And that's, like any other journeyman thing, that's where you want to sit. One thing I did have to comment on, you said about perfection, and one of the coolest things I heard was actually from a Broadway actress. And she said her motto is not practice till you get it perfect. She's like, practice till you never get it wrong. And I just remember thinking, like, wow, okay, so it's not about, because to her there was no perfection. There was just, don't get it wrong.
Right.
Make sure that you're always prepared. And I think this is something that a lot of the viewers and people that I certainly know, this would benefit us. Like I said, I've been a DJ since 1996. This is the first time I did a professional DJ gig.
Yep.
So from then till now, could I be a better DJ? Absolutely. When my clients for 2021 that saw me in 2020 or 2019, I want to be better than when they last saw me, because I want to be better than the last gig. And I'm really glad we had you on today with this. I know that I've already texted Hubert, because now that I'm going to be dealing with you guys, and I've told him he and I will be battling next NAMM, and he can plan on just giving it up, because I'm going to do some scratching and I'm going to give myself that year to take him down. So I'm challenging you right now.
There you go. Well, I'll be looking forward to that, man. I'm glad that you brought him up though, because Q is actually one of the people that inspired me. Without him really even knowing it. I grew up in San Francisco, and one of the first DJs that I ever saw do anything, especially that blew my mind, was watching Qbert at the D Young Museum. He, Apollo, and Mixmaster Mike were there for this after-school thing, and that, like, I was 16 years old, and that just was like, whoa. Wow. And I will say this though about him, I've gotten a chance to, we become friends over the years, and the thing that I will say about why he is so great, and why a lot of the greats, you were mentioning Jazzy Jeff earlier, these are guys that continue to push themselves to the next level. Yeah. There are plenty of people that started at that same time frame, and no disrespect to anybody who stopped DJing, a long time ago that started with these guys, but like, that is the difference. That is what creates a career, and that's what creates some staying power, is that I know for a fact that he is constantly pushing the envelope and trying to get better and trying to, find more creative ways to do the things that he does. So, let that inspire somebody out there.
Well, and that's, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him as well. I'm not friends with him, but I've met him at a few shows. I've hung out a bunch of times with D Styles and Shortcut. And it's, I said this yesterday talking about the DJMS7, which we have a video coming up in a moment on. It's a caliber of DJ that a year later, they're better than they were a year ago. And it's that drive to always improve. And one of the quotes that Hubert has that I love, and it's scary, but I do love it. And the quote is simply, if you're nervous before an event, you haven't practiced enough. And when I saw him once in New Jersey, I was like, hey, I love this quote. And he's like, yeah, no, it's true. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, no, if you're nervous, you haven't practiced enough. Because if I take a day off from practicing, it's like martial arts. I lose 2 days of skill.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Absolutely. And I would say this, actually, the other thing, just to not, for anybody who is, let's say, this is not your career, this is like a hobby, this is something, you're tuned into this this stream because you love music, you have a great 9-to-5 job and that's what you do, and you love your job, and DJing for you is a side thing, and maybe you have aspirations of taking this as far as you can take it, and doing a few gigs a year, or maybe just it's still this thing that you can unwind when you get home after work, and that's cool too. What I would say though is that, like, in yourself whether or not you are improving and you're seeing progress, and I feel like if 2020 has taught us anything, it's taught us a lot of things, but I mean, one of the things is just how valuable and how grateful we should be that we're all still here. And if you are watching this and from the comfort of a home and a safe place somewhere, and you're able to do this in any capacity, you're able to invest in equipment, you're able to invest in yourself, into a hobby or a passion, like, take it as far as you can take it, I mean, really fill your life with joy, because what else do you really have? You know, I mean, that's a great way to spend your time. And yeah, I mean, it's inspiring to see some of these people, as I was mentioning, from all over the world just find so much joy in being able to put mixes together. They're not necessarily trying to be career DJs. They're not trying to be the next Qbert necessarily. They're just really, they love this and they want to find ways to explore it and be 1% better tomorrow than they were today. And that's really what we're looking for.
Well, you have an incredible organization. I give you nothing but love and respect on this, that you're doing this because it's only going to further the joy that is music in people's lives. We're going to let you go in a second. Is there anything else you want everyone in the chat to know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can do this right now. Should I be announcing what everybody is getting if they don't have one of these controllers?
You know what? I think it's been such a great presentation that ending it on the note you want to end it on would be perfect. So
yeah, okay. So we have these 7-day DJ challenges, as I've mentioned a couple of times throughout this demonstration. So if you have the Flex 6, we have a course that's coming. It's a Record Box Flex 6 course. All these 7-day DJ challenges are meant for you to work towards this goal of putting together your best mix yet. You're able to submit that into our team. We're going to give you feedback. You're going to see that progression that we were talking about. And it's loaded up with stuff. I mean, honestly, what we're covering this 7 days is stuff that I used to teach over the course of 6 weeks inside of like a brick and mortar DJ school. So you're getting that if you're on the Flex 6 or you're on the DDJ 400. We also have a 5-day course on WeDJ with the DDJ 200 as well. That's free. Normally this costs $100 for the course, and we're pioneers giving this to all of those owners for free, which is amazing. But we wanted to do better than that. So anybody that doesn't have one of those controllers, but you're here watching this stream and you want to get better, you want to improve, you want to get that fundamental bass or revisit that fundamental bass, we are offering up a taste of what we're calling our ultimate courses. So we've put together a mini course. It's packed full of content. It's stuff that will go over music theory, note theory, some of the stuff that I covered today, being able to change up tempo. It's just some great content that's there, and that's completely free. We're giving that away for everybody here on this feed.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Where do they
go to the djcoach.com/pioneer DJ. If you go to that landing page, you'll be able to enter in your information right then and there, redeem your free course, whether that's one of the 7-day challenges or the 5-day challenge or this free mini class.
Wow. We so appreciate that. We love working with you. We love everything that you do. And everybody in the chat now is getting this. And thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure, man.
I can't wait to see you in person again. And like I said, I've already sent the text out. I just sent one now to Shortcut. Now he's on my list. Next up, I'm just
come and see me. We'll get it going.
I'm gonna have to wear fatigues. Probably.
We'll get it going, man. We'll get it going. I love it.
Hoppa, thank you so much, bro. Nothing but love on this. I appreciate
it. Jay, likewise. And shout out to the whole team. Shout out to Pulse, Hector, JP, everybody that's there.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. You have a good one. We're going to move forward this time. Thank you, sir. All right, now, Hoppa is using the DDJ Flex 6, and that's important because we're about to announce our Spin2Win contest winners. One of them is going to receive the DDJ Flex 6. The other one is going to get a DJM S7. And if you're not familiar with the S7, as you should be, we're going to show you a little video we have on the DJM S7.
Today, I'm going to be showing you our brand new, just released 2-channel battle mixer, the DJM S7. Below the mic level knob, there is a Bluetooth volume knob. Yes, the DJM S7 now has a Bluetooth input, so you can pair it with any mobile device. You can play audio from any audio application, whether that's Spotify, SoundCloud, even YouTube, or any backtrack application to play beats while you scratch. Now let's talk about the effects section. Loop MIDI is a feature that's exclusively introduced on the DJM S7. What Loop MIDI is are different triggers that send a repeating MIDI signal that's matched to the tempo of the playing track. So let's show you how this works. I'm gonna engage a MIDI loop. And if I switch, it switches to the other sample. Coming up next, we got DJ Analyze doing a full performance on the S7.
DJ Analyze, Analyze, Analyze,
Baby shape, baby 1, 2, 3, 4. Baby shape, baby 1, 2, 3, 4. Baby shape, baby shape, baby 1, 2, 3, 4. Baby shape, baby 1, 2, 3.
Analyze, how's it going today? We're really excited to have you a part of NAMM Believe in Music Week.
This mixer is dope. I've been on an S9 for what, 3 years now, 4 years now? So this is like, it's the perfect like little upgrade to what I have. The save loop key is everything for me because I run a lot on loops. And you know, you heard in the performance, everything. The Bluetooth feature, I really just enjoy this mixer. It's like the best of both worlds. It's like you feel comfortable like you are in an S9, but you have a few more features that you're just like, whoa, this is really dope, you know?
Coming up next, we got a full performance by DJ Melody on the S7. Melody, you ready? Take it away.
And we have a very special guest today here, DJ Melody from the Beat Junkies.
There's so many things that I really love about the S11 and particularly the S7. The split functions, being able to split multiple functions between whether it's the hot cue and the roll, the save loops and or the sampler, being able to kind of split those between the rows of pads is a huge thing.
The reason we wanted to show you that was not only to show you the amazing power of the DJ MS7 because we launched it here at the NAMM show, but because it's one of the two prizes we're now giving away to Spin2Win. We held this contest. We announced it about a week and a half ago. Put in your 1 to 2 minute entries on Instagram TV. It's very simple. You tagged us on our Instagram channel at Pioneer DJ USA with the hashtag Pioneer DJ Spin the number 2 win. So Spin2Win. So we have the 2 entries that were chosen above all others. Now, winning the DDJ Flex 6, we have DJ Ivan G. Ivan G, you have won the DDJ Flex 6 for your entry in the Spin2Win. Now, winning the DJM S7, our brand new 2-channel battle mixer that we just launched here at the NAMM Believe in Music Week 2021 show. We have Perry Dante. Again, Perry Dante, congratulations. You've now won the DJM S7 as part of our Spin2Win. Now, keeping up with giving stuff away here, I am told we have the name from our poll giveaway of the HDJ Q1. Today, the winner is Sarah Hamilton. Sarah Hamilton, you've won the HDJ Q1 headphones for filling out one of our polls. Man, giving all this stuff away, we are so excited that everybody was on board this year. NAMM Believe in Music Week 2021. We hope we get to see all of you in person next year in Anaheim. I want to be there. I hope you want to be there, and I hope I get to see you. But between now and then, we have a lot of time to fill. What are we going to do with it? Well, we're going to get back on track in February, and we're going to shoot for every second and fourth Thursday of the month, traditionally at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, of doing this show, the Happy Hour. We don't have the next one set up yet. We're still looking into it because we got to get through NAMM and we got to get some sleep after this show. But we're going to be doing topics like new gear that we launch, streaming for DJs, whether it's dummies like me or all the way up to you're doing a huge green screen streaming, different techniques within the DJ world. We want to take what it is that I love and what we here at Pioneer DJ love, which is the art of being a DJ on any level, and expand upon it. And we'd love you to follow us. It's very simple. Once we leave the NAMM Believe in Music Week 2021 page, we'll go back to our usual page on our Twitch, as well as Facebook and Instagram, and we'll probably be kicking stuff over to YouTube. All those addresses very simply are Pioneer DJ USA. So we look forward to seeing you there. We thank you so much for your support. We couldn't be who we are without you. So at the end of NAMM, the drinks are gone. Happy hour's over, I'm afraid. So until we see you again, stay well, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody. Take care.